You already forgave them, not later. Not after you thought it through. Before they said a word. And the part that should stop you cold is that you have done this before, more than once, with the same person. Something in you decided they were worth it before they gave you a single reason. And you told yourself that was love. But I want to sit here with you for a minute, because that belief is costing you something you cannot see yet. Let me show you Marcus. He is 38 years old. He manages a logistics team weekdays, goes home to a wife and 2 kids, has a younger brother named Dio. And Dio has let Marcus down in specific ways. A loan that Marcus never brought up again. A hospital visit that never happened. A promise made at a family dinner that evaporated before the plates were cleared. After that last one, Marcus said it out loud, standing in his own kitchen. He told his wife, "I am done." She looked at his face and believed him. 3 days later, Dio called, and Marcus picked up. Dio had not even finished his opening sentence. Marcus had already started moving toward him. And here is the thing that nobody says. Marcus was not being weak. He was being something far more complicated than weak. Dr. Robert Enright at the University of Wisconsin spent 30 years building the science of forgiveness. And what his research found is that forgiveness is not a response to an apology. It is something your brain does internally, on its own schedule, which means the apology was never the trigger. You were going to open that door regardless. The apology just gave you permission to admit it. Read that again and let it land. And Fred Luskin at Stanford found the reason his Stanford Forgiveness Project tracked what the body does when you stay angry at someone you still need. Cortisol accumulates, blood pressure climbs. The cardiovascular cost rises every week. Your nervous system calculated that resentment was more expensive than whatever Dio did, so it started reducing the charge on the wound. Not because you healed, because you could not afford to stay hurt. Your forgiveness was not a virtue, it was a cost-cutting measure. Now here is the part that should disturb you. A 2014 study published in Clinical Psychology Research found that in close relationships, people who forgave quickly and repeatedly were more likely to experience repeated harm, not because the other person is a predator. Because consequence is how humans learn. And when you removed the consequence before it could register, you taught Dio something. You taught him that the door stays open, that the floor does not fall out, that whatever he does, Marcus comes back. You did not mean to teach him that. But your nervous system was not thinking about Dio, it was thinking about your cortisol. And now I need to ask you something directly. Think about the person in your life right now, the one you always return to, the one you have forgiven without a conversation, the one where you told yourself you were being the bigger person. When is the last time they actually changed? Not apologized, changed. Because those are not the same thing, and somewhere in your body you already know that. Now let me show you where you learned to do this. There was a man in your house growing up, not a villain, just a man who got hurt and went silent, who came back to the dinner table like the thing that happened did not happen. You watched that, and your brain did not file it under weakness. It filed it under strength, under what a real man does, under love. And here is what got quietly inherited alongside it. The belief that naming the wound is more dangerous than carrying it, that bringing it up breaks the thing you are trying to protect. So you learn to absorb. And the person who hurt you never had to learn anything at all. Now you are doing it in different rooms. You go quiet in a thread for 2 days. Then you send the normal message, like nothing cracked. You see a post from someone who is not there for you, and you leave a like. Because staying connected feels safer than naming the distance. You mistake staying for forgiving. You mistake silence for resolution. And the other person never even registers that something needed to be repaired. Because from where they stand, nothing broke. The door was always open. And here is the identity threat, the thing you are most proud of. That you do not hold grudges. That you are not bitter like other people. That you are the one who stays. What if that trait is not evidence of your strength? What if it is evidence of your fear? Fear that naming the thing will cost you the relationship. Fear that being difficult means being alone. Fear that the version of you that holds someone accountable is not someone people stay for. That is not a comfortable question, but it is the right one. Because Dio did not keep coming back because Marcus forgave him. Dio kept coming back because nothing ever changed. Marcus's loyalty did not save the relationship, it preserved a pattern. Marcus built something over years, a self that could take the hit and stay upright. He built it one silent return at a time, one open door, one phone call answered before the wound closed. And for a long time, that thing looked like integrity. It kept the family at one table. It kept Marcus's identity intact. The man who does not break, the man who does not walk away. But that wall he built to stay functional is the same wall that now keeps everything in. His real anger, his actual grief about Dio, the version of himself that might have said, "Not this time." He starts to say it sometimes. Something stops him before the second sentence. Something very old. Something that sounds exactly like the man at the dinner table. Enright's research identified what he called the uncovering phase, the part of genuine forgiveness, where you sit inside the wound and name what was actually taken, not to punish, to witness. People who skip that phase and move directly to softening do not experience the relief that real forgiveness creates. They experience something that performs like peace. But underneath it, the body is still running the tab. Luskin found it in the stress data, elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep architecture, a nervous system that never got the signal that the threat was actually resolved. Because it was not resolved, it was bypassed. And your body knows the difference even when your mind has already moved on. So here is the reframe. The fact that your brain forgave before you decided to is not the problem. The problem is what you concluded from it. You concluded that because you had already softened, you were supposed to open the door. But softening is a biological event. Opening the door is a choice. And those are not the same thing. Your nervous system, reducing the charge on a wound, is not the same as deciding the wound was acceptable. You are allowed to feel the pull towards someone and still say, "Not yet." Not until something real has changed. That pause, that one breath between the pull and the movement, is not coldness. It is the first moment in a long time that belongs entirely to you. Before you go, I want to ask you one thing. Think of the person you returned to fastest, not the one who hurt you deepest, the one you forgave before they even knew they needed it. What did you tell yourself in that moment? What was the story you used to explain why you went back? Leave it in the comments below, because that story is the whole architecture of the pattern. And the moment you can name it out loud to a stranger is the moment it stops running you from the inside. Being seen is the first step to coming home.